How's it going, everyone? Marriland here. Last time we got done exploring Route 104's northern part, so we're right at the entrance to Rustboro City. Let's go ahead and check it out. Hey, look at that, it's May. Or Brendan if you're playing as the girl. So you made it to Rustboro too, Marriland. Nice view of the city. It's really big here, isn't it? Little Route can't even compare. Oh, in Marriland, have you heard? There's a Pokemon gym here, too. Once I catch a couple more Pokemon, I'll be sure to take it on with my team. See you later! Yep. Okay, so yes indeed, this city has the very first Pokemon gym for you to fight. Now, keep in mind, as I said earlier on, this is not some kind of gym where you go to work out and all that kind of stuff. A Pokemon gym is where you go to fight sort of like a boss, and you get rewarded with a gym badge if you manage to defeat that boss, which is called the gym leader, by the way. Anyway, this is a look at Rustboro City here. It's quite a big, sprawling city. If you need another view of it, here, let's just take a look at the sign. Actually, I guess that sign doesn't zoom it out, does it? I guess it was just May that did so. The Pokemart is right here near the entrance, and you're probably going to want to check it out. Not if you need potions or items, but actually because of this guy right here. Be sure to talk to this guy with the glasses, and he'll say, "Excuse me, trainer over there, do you have a minute? You know, sometimes moves are too strong to catch a Pokemon. You end up making a Pokemon faint even when you don't want to. For such a common problem, use this." He'll give you TM54, False Swipe. It's a very handy move. No matter how many times it's used on the opposing Pokemon, it won't cause the Pokemon to faint. I'm offering it for free right now. This is a limited time promotion. Very cool. So, what this move does, this actually does damage. It's a 40 power move. Has a lot of power points, 40. But it will not knock out the foe. If it would, it'd keep him with 1 hit point instead. This is very, very useful if you're trying to catch Pokemon because, you know, we've all been there where, you know, you get an accidental critical hit or something, knock something that you were trying to catch out, and yeah, it's like if you just use False Swipe, that'll make sure it stays, stays conscious, so then you can catch it. Very cool. As for the items available here, it's the same selection as usual. The reason for this is actually because the item selection actually varies based on how many badges you have. Once we have that first gym badge, we can come back here and the items will be a bit better. So keep that in mind. But for right now, you can only buy potions, Pokeballs, and antidotes. Let's see. So to the north here, we have the Pokemon Center. Let's go ahead and heal up my Pokemon, because they're kind of weak right now. Alright, all healed up. Pretty much the only other thing of interest inside of the Pokemon Center here would be this guy here. If you talk to him, he'll say, has anyone told you that you have the looks of a Pokemon breeder? Yes or no? Well, if you say no, I see, then what do you look like? You'll be able to choose from this list here something that you kind of look like. And, you know, if you don't really know what this is for, well, I think it has to do with your secret bases later on. And it might have to do with the PSS on the play nav. Let's just say I look like a Pokefan. Okay, cool. Now that might also be random. Let's just take a look here. I think it would influence what it shows on your profile. Yes. So on your PSS, you may notice on the profile, now it's changed to a Pokefan for the icon here. So if I were to go back and choose, say, how about a Ninja Boy? There we go. So if I were to change it to that and then talk to the guy, I think he'd say I look like a Ninja Boy. Yep. So he's basically a way that can let you change that if you just don't feel like going into the PSS on the play nav. I'm gonna go back and change this to Pokemon Breeder. I think that'll work just fine. Let's get out of the play nav. I feel like using my Dex nav. I definitely like that thing. Okay, so that's about all there is to do inside of the Pokemon Center. Next door to the Pokemon Center, you'll find this place here with some of these shrubs. So let's go inside and talk to the guy inside, and he will say that determined expression, that limber way you move in your well-trained Pokemon. You're obviously a skilled trainer. No, wait, don't say a word. I can tell just by looking at you. I'm sure you'll be able to put this HM to good use. No need to be modest or shy. Go on, take it. He will give you HM01, Cut. Any Pokemon that's learned Cut can chop down prickly trees if the trainer has earned the Stone Badge. HMs like this can be used outside of battle too with the right badges. So, this is the very first HM that you'll have access to. An HM is kind of highlighted in blue if you're looking in your TMs and HMs pocket. This is not a very good move. While it does have 50 power points, or I'm sorry, 50 power and 30 power points, it only has 95 accuracy, and tackle is technically better. The real downside of this, though, is once you teach it to a Pokemon, you cannot get rid of that move until later on in the game. Quite a bit later on in the game, too. Like Lily Cove City, that's so far away. And since this is a very bad move, it's really a pain to get rid of. That's why I recommend do not teach this to anything that you want to use. Teach it to something that you don't plan on using as you're traveling throughout the Hoenn region. For instance, the Zigzagoon here. You know, Zigzagoon's a cool Pokemon. I've used one in Pokemon Emerald, but I also don't plan on actually training the Zigzagoon. It'll probably just be in my party using Pickup. So it's a perfect candidate to teach Cut to, as opposed to teaching this move to one of your good Pokemon and then finding out a little bit later in the game, oh right, I can't get rid of this move and I wish I could learn a much better move. You're gonna be stuck with it for a while. Now, it's not permanent. Again, once you get to Lily Cove City, you will be able to meet someone called the Move Deleter. Let me show you where that is on the area nav here. It is way up north. So I'm over here. Right there. It is all the way over here. So yeah, that is quite a distance. You're not going to be getting rid of that move anytime soon. That's why it's really important that you don't teach it to anyone that you really need to have on your team at all times, because it's just one move they're not going to have. Okay, so once you have that, you can do a little bit more looking around town. Let's see, what else do we have? Over here is the Trainer's School. We'll teach you anything about Pokemon. So let's go in here, and if you talk to this guy, hey, I'm not a weird man, I'm the head of this school. To prove that, I'll share some knowledge with you. He explains about the various badges you can get in the Hoenn region. These are all of the badges you can get: Stone Badge, Knuckle Badge, Dynamo Badge, Heat Badge, Balance Badge, Feather Badge, Mind Badge, and Rain Badge. However, he doesn't really tell you that much. He just says what level Pokemon will obey you up to if you have that badge. So that's kind of really a letdown. Oh well. Other than that, none of the trainers here give you any items, but if you talk to this fella back here, students who don't study get a little taste of my Quick Claw, you see? Whether or not you are a good student will be evident from the way you use this item. Alright, I got the Quick Claw. So this is an okay item. A Pokemon holding the Quick Claw will occasionally speed up and get to move before its opponent, you see? Cool. So, this item is a held item, meaning, you know, a Pokemon should hold it. And this is really good to put on slower Pokemon because it has a chance of making the Pokemon move first. Very handy. I don't think Shroomish is overly fast, so let's go ahead and put that on Shroomish for right now. But if you have a slower Pokemon than that, which, you know, give a look at their speed stat. See, 14, 26, 18. Yeah, Shroomish is definitely the slowest of the Pokemon that I have, so it would be the best candidate for the Quick Claw. Kinda handy. Definitely recommend equipping that early on because there's not really a lot of held items at this point in the game aside from berries. Alrighty, so let's see. Let's go over to this building here behind the Pokemon Center. And yeah, you'll find very nice decoration here. Helix fossil, anyone? There is a Skitty that you can actually scan with the Dex Nav. There you go. And let's go ahead and go upstairs really quick. So, talk to this guy here who's looking all cool and stylish, and he'll give you an item. My dad's a real ace in the Devon Corporation, I'll have you know. It's no wonder I'm an ace myself. Here, I'll give you something that an ace trainer like me uses. It's a float stone. If you have a Pokemon hold a float stone, its weight will be halved. Although it looks like it'll be a while before you can use something like this as well as I can. Yeah, so the float stone item indeed, when it's held by a Pokemon, it halves its weight. This isn't overly useful for most situations. However, if you're worried about this Pokemon getting hit by a move such as Low Kick or Grass Knot, which does more damage based on how heavy you are, then the float stone is a rather nice item to kind of circumvent that. It's not really useful. I don't really even recommend having any of your Pokemon hold it while you're playing through the game because its uses aren't that great. But oh well. So talk to this guy here. My daddy works at Devon. This here's something he made. I can't use it, so you can have it. Cool. It's a Premier Ball. Yeah, you can normally only get those if you buy 10 Pokeballs at a time. Right. Okay, so let's just go upstairs really quick and see if there's anything else up here. Hey there, pal. Devon's president likes to collect rare stones. You know, I don't know who this Devon is, Devon Corporation, but that's my name, darn it. Except it's spelled with an I instead of an O. Didn't someone say the president's son likes to collect rare stones too? Yep. Alright, well, nothing up here. That's fine. Oh. For some reason, I put on a lot of weight recently. Yeah, after you receive the float stone, yeah, he suddenly turns into a hiker. Isn't that a little weird? Oh well. Okay, so that Devon Corporation, that's actually this big building right over here. It's pretty neat, but there's nothing you can do inside at the moment. We'll be checking it out soon enough though, don't worry. But you don't need to waste any time in there. Over here is the Pokemon Gym. You'll want to go in there when you're all set. Want to make sure your Pokemon are, you know, at a pretty decent level. Level 12, 13. That's all right. You also want to make sure you have a Pokemon that can actually fight well in there. I'll talk about that in a little bit, probably in the next episode. But in the house right next door, you'll find some people in here. This little guy, he'll offer to trade you. Do you nickname your Pokemon? I gave a cool name to mine, but when I call my Pokemon by that name, people laugh at me. If it's okay with you, want to trade your Slackoth for my Makuhita? This is why I recommended catching a Slackoth back in the Petalburg woods. If you have a Slackoth, you can trade it for this guy's Makuhita. The cool thing is, you can even trade from your PC nowadays, which is awesome. You don't even need to have the Pokemon in your party. So, I'm going to go ahead and trade off that Slackoth that I got earlier on for this guy's Makuhita. You don't need to do this, but since you can't get Makuhita until after you've gotten your first badge, this is a way to get a Makuhita a little earlier on. Plus, it'll gain experience much quicker because it's a traded Pokemon. However, the downside is, because it's a traded Pokemon, once it gets past level 10 or so, it'll start to disobey you, occasionally not acting properly in battle. So you need to have your gym badge in order to effectively use this thing. So you can get curious about what other people name their Pokemon? Yes, I did. So I do not have that Makuhita on me right now. Let me run back to the Pokemon Center and I'll show it to you. Alright, so let's take a look at this thing. Oops, I don't want to do deposit Pokemon, darn it. I don't actually want that Makuhita on my team. But as you can see, you get Makit, the Makuhita. This will always be the same every single time you trade it. It will always be at level 9. It's no longer based on the level that you traded. So, you know, that level 5 Slackoth doesn't mean I'm getting a level 5 Makuhita. It comes with Guts as its ability, which is kind of nice. It's a Brave Nature, which means it'll be slower, but have good attack. That's kind of nice. It's holding an X attack, which doesn't actually do anything while it's held, so you'll want to remove that from it right away. It also has Tackle, Focus Energy, Sand Attack, and Arm Thrust. That's kind of okay, I guess. You could use this against the gym, because fighting is super effective against Rock, which the first type gym is, or the first gym, the first type gym. No, that's the type of the first gym. But since it will disobey you, if it gets too high of a level, you might not want to use that. typically the Pokemon you'll want to use are Lotad or Seedot, Shroomish, Mudkip or Trico, or maybe even Ralts. Also, if you have this thing, it'll be a breeze, but I'm not using that. Anyway, yeah, that's a look at Makuhita, the Makuhita. And it's, you know, kind of interesting. It's at least cool that you have a chance to receive a traded Pokemon. Again, it's a downside that it needs to have badges in order to obey you, but after you get the first badge, unless you really overlevel that thing, it generally works out just fine, and it keeps up with the badges you receive, so it's really only an issue at this point in the game unless you're doing a lot of training. Anyway, further north, you'll find a path that leads north, and that takes you onto Route 115. There's no Pokemon for you to catch here. Even though you may see some on the bottom screen, there's no tall grass. There's not really anything to do there other than pick up a Zinc. I'll show Route 115 later on. It's not really worth showing you just running up and getting a Zinc. You could sell that for, I think, 4,900 Pokédollars if you want. So that's kind of useful. And you can also go over northeast here onto Route 116, which has some new Pokemon, such as Skitty, Nincada, and Whismur, which you may want to catch before taking on the gym. You can fight all the trainers there to get some experience. You can even make it over to the Rustboro tunnel, but this is totally not necessary. And you're going to need to go through here after getting your gym badge, so I don't recommend, well, I mean, I won't say I don't recommend going over there. If you want to, feel free. I'm just not going to myself until after I've taken on the gym. So, that being said, I think that pretty much wraps up everything of importance here in Rustboro City, other than this lovely gym here, which I will be taking on in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.